Hello, today we're here with Mr. Juan Flores for the HACEMOS Latino Diversity Stories. Juan, buenos dias. Good morning.
Dias.
How are you today?
I am doing great. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, thank you for your time. We really appreciate it. I heard this morning a little tidbit about you. I heard you have a big milestone coming up this year.
Yes, I actually do. In August, I will have 35 years service. So it's been a great run so far, and had a great time and done a lot of different things with the company and been involved with a lot of groups. It's really good.
Well, thank you. I mean, that's a wonderful career, and thank you for all your time with the company. And in that 35 years, can you tell us a little bit about what you've been involved with HACEMOS?
Oh yeah, so I started with HACEMOS in Houston, when I was in Houston actually, about I would say 15 or so years ago. I was president of the HACEMOS chapter in Houston, started there, and throughout the years I've moved to Kansas City and Dallas and Houston several times, back and forth, and I've served different levels. I'm on the advisory board now, which is really great opportunity and great experience. Yes. It's a great experience to meet a lot of great folks with a lot of passion for what they do and for HACEMOS. And then I've also been part of their mentor program, which is really great as well. It's really been a great time for me.
Well, great. Well, thank you again for all the time that you've dedicated to HACEMOS. We really do appreciate it. Do you want to tell us a little bit personally about yourself and your journey into AT&T? Oh
yeah, it's like, wow, go way back, you know. So I was born in Alice, Texas, which is a town about 2.5 hours south of San Antonio. Moved to San Antonio when I was 4, did not speak English at the time. So my parents realized it was time that I start to learn English, moving into a bigger city, giving me more opportunities. And so at the time there was no English as a second language courses, right? So it was kind of sink or swim. So we used to go across the street to the daycare center, not daycare center, to the play school across the street and learn English. And that's the way I learned. It was really great. And I tell the story all the time of a really traumatic time in my life when I grew up. I was always known by my family as Johnny. That was my name, Johnny Flores, till I got to 3rd grade, and then the teacher during roll call at the first day called out Juan Flores. It was like, I don't know who she's talking about. You know, it's not me. And so she came up to me, she said, "Are you not Juan Flores?" I said, "No, I'm Johnny." And she said, "No, you're Juan." And she said, "There's too many Johnnies in the class, so your mom and I got together and decided that you would go by your real name, which is Juan." And so it was traumatic for me, right? It was like, how am I going to change my whole identity? I'm now going to be Juan. And then, of course, I had to endure all the Juan jokes, right? 1, 2, 3, magic Juan. But that was kind of the first time that I was faced a little bit of adversity in my life, right? Actually, the first time was learning to speak English, and then that time when I had to change what I thought was my identity, my whole identity. And then I moved on, went to college, graduated, went to college at Texas A&M. I'm a graduate of A&M, graduated in 1983. I have a mechanical engineering degree. I'm married, been married for 34 years in August. Have 2 great kids, a son and a daughter. My son works for us. My daughter's a nurse at Dallas Children's Hospital. Have a granddaughter, 6 years old now, the love of our lives, and it just really changes your whole life. As you know, having grandkids is a whole different ball game, right? And then when I was in college, back to my career, when I was in college, I got the opportunity to co-op with Southwestern Bell at the time, and it was in San Antonio. And I did 3 semesters in San Antonio in the Circuit Provisioning Center, which is operations, a part of operations now. But at that time, I got to experience life as a technical manager versus a technical engineer. And the experiences that I had at Southwestern Bell at the time and the opportunities that I saw were available to me was exactly where I wanted to go. And so, unfortunately at the time, it was divestiture, December of 1983. And of course, hiring freezes, couldn't bring anybody on, etc. And so I did a tour with Kelly Air Force Base, and then I did another tour with NASA in Clear Lake in Houston. And then got a call and said, we're ready to hire and we're really interested in you coming back. Would you like to come back? And I was ecstatic because that's exactly where I wanted to be. And so I went back. I went back to Southwestern Bell in Houston, in San Antonio, and started my career there. My dad happened to know some of the people that I would be working with in Southwestern Bell because he was in the Army Reserves with them. And so I never forget, Dad called me in a panic and he said, you can't take that job. Have you already accepted? I said, well, yeah, pretty much have. He said, well, you can't take it. And I was like, well, what do you mean I can't take the job? And Dad said, well, you can't take it because I talked to this gentleman that I'm in the reserves with, and he told me they don't like Hispanics at Southwestern Bell, and you'll never be successful, and you will never have a career at Southwestern Bell. And so I remember it just kind of floored me, right? Because here's the person that I looked to all my life for direction and guidance, and now I'm having to make a really tough decision. Do I go with what I'm comfortable with, that Dad knows best, or do I, become my own person and make my own decision? And so I remember telling Dad, I think I'm going to try this, right? I think I can make a difference, and I think I know what I'm capable of and where I can change that mindset. And so I did. I took the job, and it's worked out well for me. And I think Dad and I look back on that moment and say that was probably a good decision on your part, son. And then we move on. But that was probably the first time that I really had to do some soul searching for, was this really the right move? But I've never looked back. One thing I learned at that point was, you have to make a conscious decision to not let adversity define who you are, and I wasn't going to do that. I made the decision then that would not define me, that I would be my own person, and I would, the success depended on me and how committed and dedicated I was to the things I was doing, and that's the way I have managed through my whole career. So the company just gave us so much opportunity to expand and be yourself and think differently, and it hasn't changed my whole career. It's been really great.
So did you start off in tech ops, or did you have a turning point to where you came into tech ops?
Yeah, it's really always been in tech ops, all technical. Moved into circuit provisioning in Houston. I was promoted in 1988, take an area manager circuit provisioning position, did numerous jobs in circuit provisioning before I went out to field operations, did that for a while, came back into the dispatch center, and then I was promoted to director to have all of special services. I had field operations as well as center operations, and gave me a really good view of the business on both sides. And then moved to Dallas to be, at the time it was Joe Wachowiak, but it ended up being Van Taylor's chief of staff. He was a network president, and got to see a totally different side of the business, because when you're chief of staff,
yes,
it gives you a whole different experience behind the scenes, so to speak. And just learned a tremendous amount of
scale and scope really changes, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. How to deal with people, et cetera, and how to deal with the financial side of the business and the strategy side of the business. And moved back to Houston, and then I was my first VP job was a VP general manager of the Kansas City market, Kansas market. And I did that for about 10 months and moved back into operations again, and I've been here ever since. So, wow. Field ops, network operations centers.
So Juan, why don't you tell me a little bit about the volunteerism that you've done with HACEMOS?
I do a lot of mentoring circles with different ERGs, and HACEMOS is one of them. I learn as much from those as the people in the circles do, and we really, I really get the opportunity to bond closely with the people in the circles and the people in the mentoring groups, and I do a lot of one-on-one mentoring as well. And I learn a lot about the things that are on people's mind and what's important to them, and it really helps me shape how I manage my organization, because you don't get any better information than what people face every day, and the challenges that they face, and the things that they run into on a day-to-day basis, and what worries them, what keeps them awake at night. I always get the question, what keeps me awake at night? I really want to know what keeps them awake at night, because that's how you stay in touch with people around you, not just within your own organization, but within the corporation, to see what's important to people. And so I've really enjoyed the time that I've had with the ERGs. The ERG conference is amazing. The energy that you feel in those conferences is genuine and it's natural. It's really so much passion and energy just walking the halls. I mean, I could walk through the halls and probably talk to 50 different people about different things that, and it's all personal, and the stories that you get. I've had the opportunity to participate in panels, and I did a TED Talk last year, and I still get emails or cues, or somebody will run into me, hey, I heard your TED Talk. I want you to know you hit home with something I was going through, or recently I've gone through something that you talked about, or that we talked about in our circle there, and it really hits home to people, and it really does validate that what we do is important. So it's really a great opportunity for me.
Well, on behalf of HACEMOS, we want to thank you for being just a very valued, not only just member, but advisor as well for our ERG, and really want to thank you for your time this morning.
Well, you're quite welcome. Thank you very much for having me. Hi, I'm Juan Flores, and I'm a proud member of HACEMOS, and I am proud to be a part of AT&T.